Congratulations, $47,000 to $75,000. You just paid for plastic from 2003, Toyota 4RUNNER 2026. They sell it to you as a legend. Right now, I'm going to explain why this is an insult. Stay till the end, because I'll tell you what to actually buy for this money. Let's go. Have you seen this price tag? $75,000. This is not a joke. This is not a dream. This is reality. Toyota, have you completely lost your mind? For this money in 2026, I expect a car that makes me happy. Not a car that makes me cry every single time I open the door. They tell us, legend, unbreakable, reliable. But in reality, they take a car from the past, wrap it in a pretty package, and sell it to you for 75 grand. That's it, nothing more. I get inside. And what do I see? You expected luxury? You expected materials worth $75,000? Forget it. This feels like a woodshop classroom from a rural school in the 90s. Look at this plastic. It feels like they stamped it on the cheapest assembly line just to fill empty space. Where is the wood? Where is the aluminum? Where is even a hint of carbon? Everything here is made from recycled flip-flops and old gas cans. For 75 grand, I want an interior that feels good to touch. Not a cabin that looks like a budget Chinese toy blown up 100 times. What is this? Now, listen carefully. Texas, Florida, summer, 100 degrees outside. The car sat in the sun for 2 hours. You open the door, and you get hit with the smell of burning hot plastic. Sound familiar? This is not premium. This is not quality. This feels like you just sat inside a heated container full of cheap parts. In normal cars at this price, soft panels, Alcantara, leather, materials that hold up in the heat. But here, this plastic just reminds you every single time, hey, you overpaid. For $75,000, I want to get in my car and feel like a human being. Not like I just opened the lid of a printer that's been running for 3 hours straight. Let's talk ergonomics. We're in America. A normal person deserves comfort. For this money, I want seats like a BMW X5. I want it to hug me, adjust to my back, not try to turn my spine into dust. In the 4RUNNER, you sit like you're on a stool in someone's hallway. And the back seat? That's just disrespectful. If you're even slightly above average height, your knees are in your mouth. There's less space back there than in a closet. This is disrespect. This is a slap in the face to someone handing over $75,000. And you know what's the funniest part? If you go to Toyota and say, guys, make a decent cabin, it's catastrophically tight in here. You know what they'll say? They'll say, go buy a Prado or a Lexus GX, everything's there. Seriously, Toyota, you take 75 grand, give me a tight cabin with cheap plastic, and then send me to spend even more for normal space? I don't want a Prado. I don't want a Lexus. I want this exact car, the 4RUNNER, but with a normal interior and human-sized space. This isn't rocket science. This is just basic respect for a customer handing you $75,000. But Toyota decided that respect is a paid option, and it's called Lexus. And then I thought about my dog. She jumped in the back seat, looked at me with those smart eyes, and basically said, owner, I love you, but you're an idiot. And you know what? She would be right, because $75,000 for this interior is exactly the kind of thing your dog judges you for silently, but very expressively. People use your brains. $75,000. Ford Bronco. At least there's some character and drive there. A 1-year-old BMW X5 or Lexus GX. That's where you'll find out what real comfort and leather feels like, not this plastic garbage. Even in a Kia Telluride, you'll feel like a human being, not like a truck driver from the last century. Toyota is selling you a reputation they earned 20 years ago, and you're paying for it in 2026. This isn't business, this is arrogance. Now let's talk about what's under the hood. Toyota removed the good old naturally aspirated V6 4-litre and put in a 2.4 turbo 4-cylinder. And you know what I'm going to say? Congratulations, off-road fans. Before, you went to the shop once every 100 years to change the oil. Now the mechanics will know your kids' names and what coffee you drink. Because the 2.4 turbo is not an engine, it's a maintenance subscription. The turbo runs hot as hell. If before under the hood it was simple and spacious, now there's a bunch of hoses, sensors, electronics. And all of that from the heat will start hardening and cracking over time. This isn't a horror story. This is physics, people. Let's keep going. The old V6 could handle even not so great gas on the road. This engine, with direct injection and a turbo, is a total princess. One bad tank of gas. And hello, fuel system repair for a couple $1,000s. Great news for people driving into the middle of nowhere, right? And the main question, the 4Runner is a heavy body-on-frame truck. Before it was pulled by displacement, 4 honest litres. Now it's done by a turbocharger. Interesting. How long will those 4 tiny pistons survive when you decide to pull a trailer or crawl through deep mud in the Arizona mountains? And the used car market? That's a whole separate story. In 5 years, people will be hunting for old V6 engines like they're the holy grail. And these turbo packages will be sitting in the corner waiting for their third optimistic owner. Listen, I'm not saying the 4Runner is a bad car. I'm saying that for $75,000, this is a bad deal. There's a difference. Reliability? Great. But reliability doesn't justify an interior from the past, a cramped cabin, an engine with question marks, and the feeling that nobody respects you as a customer. Toyota knows the badge sells itself. That's exactly why they don't try harder. So the question is simple. Are you paying for a car or for a sticker on the hood? Write in the comments. What would you buy for $75,000 instead of the 4Runner? I'm genuinely curious. And if you know someone who's looking at this price tag right now, send them this video. Let them think twice. See you in the next one. That's it. Bye.